I found new creepy TikTok stories you should watch in 2023. What's good? How your day going? Your morning, your evening, night, whenever you're watching this video. I'm not about to talk your ears off, I'm about to jump right into this. Hey, I feel like this one about to be creepy AF. Yo, you wanna check out the original video? Link will be in the description below, but let's go.
These are 8 horrifying facts that will probably keep you up at night. In ancient Rome, soldiers used to drink fresh warm blood to cure epilepsy. There are antidepressants that eliminate someone's ability to feel love and compassion. The Exorcist movie resulted in many of its cast dying, including 2 actors whose characters died in the movie. In 2017, an asteroid named AG-13 passed by our home planet with less than the distance of the moon. Scientists saw it coming only 2 days before it could have hit Earth. One of the most haunted dolls is Robert. It belonged to a child named Eugene in 1904. The 2 most dangerous books are called Shams al-Ma'arif and Al-Ghazali. They carry rituals for summoning demons. In ancient England, people used tops of hollowed human skulls to drink and eat. At Harvard University, there's a book bound in human skin, like for part 6.
Necronomicon.
Terrifying facts you
great.
wish you never knew, and trust me, the last one is insane. So it's no secret that Mount Everest is one of the most dangerous climbs that any adventurer could possibly go on. But Mount Everest is hiding a very disturbing secret. It's called the Rainbow Valley, and if you don't know what it is, buckle up. The Rainbow Valley is a trail of dead bodies scattered all along Mount Everest. And it's called the Rainbow Valley because all the climbers that died all had on different colorful jackets. And it's to the point where people use these dead bodies as points to mark how far up the mountain they are. Number 2, there's no reason why anesthesia works. Literally none, but thank God it does. Most of the time. Because several people have suffered from something called anesthesial awareness. Anesthesial awareness is a condition that causes people to wake up when they're put under anesthesia, but they can't move or make any noises, and they feel all the pain.
That's one of my biggest fears, man. That is the biggest reason why I'm scared to ever go under the needle. The most surgery I had is freaking oral surgery, dog. I know it's really rare for this to happen, but this ish happens. Oh, wrong button, my bad. Ooh, shit.
Anesthesia, but they can't move or make any noises, and they feel all the pain. And people that have been through it have described it as a living hell.
Terrifying true facts that will keep you up at night, part 2. Most people would consider ducklings to be relatively harmless and innocent creatures, but they can be more sinister than you might realize. When a group of ducklings starts to feel overcrowded, aggravated, or even just bored sometimes, they will often turn to cannibalism to solve their problems for them. This is a characteristic that they share with other animals we tend to regard as being cute, such as chickens and bunny rabbits. And speaking of cute, let's talk about babies. Up until the mid-1980s, doctors would routinely operate on infants without the use of anesthetics. This is because it was thought that babies couldn't experience pain. Also in the 1980s, CNN pre-recorded an ominous video meant to be published in the event of an end-of-the-world scenario. Comment if you think that video will be published during your lifetime, and
I say what you want, dog. If it's going to be posted, then I hope so. I hope I'm around to see it, dog. Lately, I've been aware, dog. I've been understanding. Like, I'm aware, man. It's been really tripping me out. Not really tripping me out lately. Don't look at me like that. But no, for real, I just really been thinking about Ish lately a lot, bro. Like, I am really effing, my bad, alive. I ain't kicking that shit with you today. Hey, we ain't kicking that shit today, though. We about to watch this video.
Scenario. Comment if you think that video will be published during your lifetime, and follow for more. Terrifying true facts that will keep you up at night, part 4. Decapitation doesn't always immediately work. There have been some reports of humans living up to 30 seconds after their heads have been removed from their bodies. And there was a chicken in the 1940s named Mike who lived for over a year without his head. There is a whale called 52 Blue which sings at such a high frequency that it is unable to communicate with the rest of its species, making it the loneliest animal on Earth and dooming it to die alone. And finally, mummies weren't actually rare until the late 16th century. when the British decided to start buying mummies to grind up into paint. Oh, and they also started eating them, believing them to have special medical properties. Tag a friend if you're watching this at night, and follow for more.
These are 8 horrifying facts.
Last stop. You know what? It's crazy, right? We hear this ish. Right now, we feel like, yo, we got it all figured out. It's what we're supposed to feel. I'm quite sure they felt that way back then. But the crazy thing is, as we advance and we learn ish about the human body, you know how far along it's going to be when we're long gone? When it's like the year, I don't know, 3042. And the ish they'll figure out that we just don't know now, that they'll probably look at like, yo, that ish was stupid. Why did they do it that way? Damn, man. Like, man, I don't even think the year 3000 is coming. Time ain't real to me, dog.
Oh, and they also started eating them, believing them to have special medical properties. Tag a friend if you're watching this at night, and follow for more.
These are 8 horrifying facts that will probably
Ignore me, dog. We
started eating them, believing them to have special medical properties. Tag a friend if you're watching this at night, and follow for more.
These are 8 horrifying facts that will probably keep you up at night. One of your photos that you have today will be used in your funeral. There are more slaves today than any other time in history. According to the founder of the Walk Free Foundation, there are 46 million slaves in the world today. Your eyes can still move after your death for 15 to 30 seconds. Watching TV for more than 2 hours a day can shorten your life expectancy by 1.4 years. In 1977, we received a radio signal from space that lasted 42 seconds. To this day, no one knows where that signal came from. A lit candle causes more than 15,000 house fires every year. Spider rain could happen at any moment above you. Bill Skarsgård,
Boy,
who played
I'ma
Pennywise
lose
in the
my
27
ears.
candle causes more than 15,000 house fires every year. Spider
Ooh, niggas at a tarantula. Boy, I am gone. Stop playing with me. Stop playing so much, dog. For real, watch this video.
A lit candle
this one good
causes
so
more
far,
than
dog.
15,000 house fires every year. Spider rain could happen at any moment above you. Bill Skarsgård, who played Pennywise in the 2017 version of It, was born in 1990, the year the original It was released. Yeah. These are 8 horrifying facts that will probably keep you up at night. Up until the 1980s, some doctors didn't believe newborns could feel pain.
That shit's so crazy to me.
The Wreck of the Titan. It predicted the Titanic ship tragedy, and it was written 14 years before it happened. Until the 20th century, human remains were used in the making of medicine. Climate change is making Middle Eastern countries colder and Western countries warmer. There is a church in Czech Republic called the Sedlik Ossuary, and it's decorated with human bones. Another fact about this church, it holds the skeletons of 70,000 people. 4-year-old Dorothy Good was the youngest person to be accused of witchcraft. While Ted Bundy was
what year was
the
that?
youngest person to be accused of
1692,
witchcraft.
huh?
While Ted Bundy was a psychology major at the University of Washington, he worked at Seattle's Suicide Hotline Crisis Center. Yeah, there's a lot more, like for part 16. These are 8 horrifying facts that will probably
Hey, I
keep
like
you
dog.
up at night. Vending machines are lethal. Yes. 13 people a year get killed from vending machines. Cats can sense when their owners are dying. Babies have more bones than adults. Spiders can survive in space. Your rectum is the first part of your body to develop, which means in one point of your life, you are just a... Several species of birds keep cool by defecating on themselves. Your stomach lining blushes when you do. On average, themselves.
for real?
Your stomach lining blushes when you do. On average,
That's crazy.
173,000 people die per day. Yeah, there's a lot more, like for part 15. These are 8
Hey.
horrifying facts that will probably keep you up at night. When Apollo 11 landed, it only had 20 seconds of remaining fuel. 4 months ago, a deceased rapper by the name Gunu had his corpse on stage while fans were partying around his body. The average person wastes 5 months of their lives waiting for red lights to turn green. Cruise ships have morgues, just in case someone,
Not in Detroit.
during the
Or Flint. Man, niggas be running them hoes. I legit be pulling up to the light. I caught. I'm like, watch, doggy bone about to run this light. Pure. I knew it. Told you, Nick. Shit tripped me out, man.
Months of their
Man, this
lives
video
waiting
crazy,
for red
dog.
lights to turn green. Cruise ships have morgues, just in case someone, during the trip. If you have red eyes after swimming, it's not from chlorine. It's from the chlorine mixing with other people's urine. The furthest part of the ocean from land is Point Nemo. If you get stuck there, you're furthest part of the ocean from land is Point Nemo. If you get stuck there, you're not coming back. Sunburn are your
think?
cells dying to avoid being cancerous. Most laugh tracks and shows are people from the 50s, which means you're hearing the laughter of dead people. Yeah, there's a lot more, like for part 14. These are 8 horrifying facts that will probably keep you up at night. There
All right,
are
let me see
thousands.
some variety, dog. Let me see who else. I want to see some more people. Stop playing.
These
so
are
much.
8 horrifying facts that will probably keep you up at night. There are thousands of old diseases frozen in the glaciers of the world, and global warming will eventually release them all. If a person dies in their costume at Disney, like Mickey Mouse, they have to be sat down on a bench so it looks like they're resting. Climate change is making spiders bigger. Some female spiders allow their young to eat them alive. Tooth in the eye surgery is when surgeons put a tooth in a blind person's eye to restore their sight. It was pioneered in the 1960s, and it actually works, and it's still being done today.
Wow.
The chances of a successful CPR outside of a hospital is only 7%.
Damn.
Cell phones are 10 times dirtier than a toilet
Yup.
seat. When you suddenly wake up during the night without any reason, there was someone or something staring at you. Yeah, there's a lot more, like for part 12. These are 8 horrifying facts that will probably keep you up at night. If you smell burnt toast and there's nothing actually burning, you are most probably having a stroke. If you have 5 brothers, one of you will go to 5 funerals, while another won't see even one. If you shiver randomly,
What? Wait, if you have 5 brothers, so 6 of us total. I don't know why I made that plural. One of us will go to 5 funerals, and one of us more likely won't see not one. I'm gonna have to think about that. How would that work? Because, I mean, anybody could. I'm guessing if I'm assuming they all just die of natural causes, it's just age, because then they just fade out from each other. But all right, yeah, let me go back.
probably having a stroke. If you have 5 brothers, one of you will go to 5 funerals, while another won't see even one. If you shiver randomly, that means a ghost passed near or through you. There are 2 days that don't last 24 hours. The one of your birth and the one of your death. In the original Little Red
Damn,
Riding
I
Hood,
never think
the
about
wolf
that.
forced her to eat her grandma. You've never actually seen your face, only photos and reflections. People who fall in love lose an average of 2 friends each. By the time you reach the age of 18, on average, you have 3,300 weekends left in your life. Yeah, there's a lot more, like for part 11.
Don't waste it.
Terrifying facts that will keep you up at night, part 3. Up until the mid-19th century, dentures were made by harvesting the teeth of recently deceased soldiers. It was also not uncommon for rich people whose teeth had rotted from eating too much sugar to purchase the teeth of poor people who had healthier diets to replace their own. Most laugh tracks used in television today were recorded during or before the 1950s. So when you hear one, chances are you're listening to the laughter of people who have been dead for decades. Unlike other predators, polar bears will actively hunt humans for food and sport. In fact, there's a famous saying that if the bear is brown, lie down. If it's black, fight back. And if it's white, good night. Comment if you think you could beat a polar bear in a fight, and follow for more. Here are some terrifying true facts you'll wish you didn't know. Think about this sentence for a second. Either we're entirely alone in the universe, or we're not. Both are terrifying prospects.
I throw that one at y'all a lot on this channel. I think about that one. I think I said it a little more deeper though. Mine should be a little more deep.
You didn't know. Think about this sentence for a second. Either we're entirely alone in the universe, or we're not. Both are terrifying prospects. Either we're entirely alone, or we're not, and what's out there might be worse than if we were. There are more slaves today than in any other point in human history. We like to think of slavery as being an issue of the past, but it is estimated that there are up to 40 million slaves today, and over a quarter of them are children. Finally, over 80 million bacteria can be exchanged in just one kiss. Maybe there are some benefits to being single.
Scary cartoons.
Boy, what kind of creepy. What I was about to say was, lately, I always noticed that. I ain't gonna lie to you. I always tell y'all about my stories, TMI, about me being a man whore or whatever, right? I never was a fan of kissing. I couldn't do it. I used to always give them an excuse. I don't care who she was. Like, yeah, I can't do this because that, or no, I don't like it. So I just hit you with anything, though. I ain't gonna lie. I never liked that shit, man, because it's just swapping spit, man. I ain't gonna lie to you, though. I talked to this one girl because I had just got a root canal. I was like, yeah, I just got a root canal. The doctor said I can't be kissing or do anything in my mouth for like 2 months. I don't care, dog. I don't care, dog. I don't like that shit, dog. Yeah, just never been a fan of it,
in
dog.
just one kiss.
Watch this.
Maybe there are some benefits to being single.
Scary cartoon truths that would terrify you, Part 1. Peppa Pig was diagnosed with cancer at just 2 years old and spent most of her early life in bed. She needed constant assistance and 24-hour supervision from her parents just to keep her alive. Peppa was an embarrassment and a burden to the whole family. But one day her dad had enough and got a horrible idea. He decided to chain Peppa to her bed so she could never leave her room again. Years later, her parents had another child, which they named Peppa. This Peppa replaced the original Peppa, who is still locked inside her room. And if you Google Peppa Pig house wallpaper, something terrifying comes up. At first glance, you can't see it, but if you zoom in, you can see the... At first glance, you can't see it, but if you zoom in, you can see the original Peppa still locked inside of her room.
If you still own one of these, then you might want to take caution. In the mid-80s, 17-year-old Jason Findley was found dead in his bedroom with zero evidence as to what happened. He was in good health, had no undiscovered diseases, and there was no evidence of foul play that night. It wasn't until an autopsy revealed bleeding of the inner ear that indicated some kind of sudden electrical surge. And that's when the pieces all came together. Jason had been on the phone while there was a bad thunderstorm that night. And all it took was for lightning to strike his home and an electrical surge to make its way into his ear. I always thought growing up that this was a complete urban legend, but apparently 1 to 2 people die every year from being electrocuted over the phone. Or at least they did. Thankfully, cell phones are more popular now. Unless you happen to be a vintage collector.
Here's the scary truth behind the Teletubbies. And warning, this gets scary. Teletubbies isn't really the lovable show we all know. The show was actually based on a mental institute in Bulgaria called La La Land. Inside the institute, there were children who were horribly treated. They were locked in dark rooms, beaten, abused. Their caretakers would even forget to feed them. And each Teletubby is actually based on a group of kids who died on the same day. These kids all had facial deformities from all the beatings and lack of food. This is what made them always smile. The kids were locked up in isolation. The isolation caused them to dance and sing by themselves even when there's no music. Whenever someone tried to talk to them, they would only speak gibberish. This is because they didn't understand Bulgarian or know how to speak to people. No matter how deformed and broken they would always smile because of their face. And the sound and the voice in the show is actually the caretakers talking to them. They have to follow the rules and listen to what they say. If you like this video, make sure to like and follow for more.
Dirty facts about history that school probably didn't teach you. Part 19. Oscar Wilde was once quoted saying that he was addicted to giving top and said that it greatly inspired him as a writer. The first ever pregnancy test involved injecting a woman's urine.
Wait, well, I heard that wrong. Wait. Let me go back, dog.
Dirty facts about history that school probably didn't teach you. Part 19. Oscar Wilde was once quoted saying that he was addicted to giving top and said that it greatly inspired him as a writer. The first ever pregnancy test involved injecting a woman's urine directly into a female frog's skin. And if the woman was pregnant, a few hours later, the frog would lay eggs. Paul Revere would ride from Boston to Newport to cheat on his wife. No, babe, the redcoats are actually coming this time. In 1955, the KGB tried to blackmail the president of Indonesia with video footage of him making love with a Russian woman disguised as a flight attendant. However, this backfired because the president did not care and requested the tape so he could flex on his friends back home. Giving someone the finger actually dates back 2,000 years.
Stop playing, go back, my bad. Stop playing, so what?
Flex on his friends back home. Giving someone the finger actually dates back 2,000 years, and it used to mean that you were threatening someone with sex. So while today it means fuck you, back then it meant I'm going to fuck you.
What's a really weird thing that your body does that you're not sure anybody else's body does?
Since I was a little kid, I've been able to do this with my hands.
That you're not sure anybody else's body does?
Since I was a little kid, I've been able to do this with my hands. Basically, I can crack all my fingers, all the time, anytime. Watch. It starts hurting after a while, but yeah.
Yeah, that is weird. Yo, but that was a pretty good video, man. My bad. It kind of had me in a little giggly mood for a little bit, man. There was some parts. I was like, my tripping, addicted. So you just get top. Like, man, this shit just inspired me, dog. That top probably was crazy as fuck.